In this video, we're going to work on your practice final exam, problem number 3. In problem number 3, the production department of Zan Corporation has submitted the following forecast of units to be produced by quarter for the upcoming fiscal year. So they've already done the production budget. This is not sales, this is production. In addition, 6,000 grams of raw materials inventory is on hand at the start of the first quarter, and the beginning accounts payable for the first quarter is 2,880. Each unit requires 8 grams of raw materials that cost $1.20 per gram. Management desires to end each quarter with an inventory of raw materials equal to 25% of the following quarter's production needs. The desired ending inventory for the fourth quarter is 8,000 grams. Management plans to pay for 60% of raw materials purchases in the quarter acquired and 40% in the following quarter. Each unit requires 0.2 direct labor hours, and direct laborers are paid $15 per hour. So for requirements 1 and 2, we're supposed to calculate the estimated grams of raw materials that need to be purchased and the cost of raw materials purchased for each quarter and the whole. So let's get going. If you remember our raw materials requirements budget, we're going to do this for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. So what we're going to do is the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start off with production in units. That is given in the problem. I'll put in the commas so it's going to be a little bit easier to see the numbers. So all these 4 numbers are given: 5,000, 8,000 in the first chart, 7,000, and 6,000. So now what we need to do is we're going to multiply that by the requirements for each unit of raw materials. So we see here that each unit requires 8 grams of raw materials. So we're just going to put 8 all the way across here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the 2 to calculate the raw materials required for production. So once again, I'm going to multiply 5,000 times 8, 8,000 by 8, 7,000 by 8, and 6,000 times 8. Now, to the raw materials necessary for production, I'm going to add the desired ending inventory in raw materials. So we're told over here that the desired ending inventory, over here, management desires to end each quarter with an inventory of raw materials equal to 25% of the following quarter's production needs. So our ending inventory for quarter 1 would be quarter 2's production needs multiplied by 25%. So that would be 64,000 multiplied by 25%. The ending inventory for quarter 2 would be 25% of quarter 3's production requirements. So I would take 56,000 and multiply that by 25%. I know that there's an easier way I can do this, but I'm not showing you Excel. I'm showing you how to solve the problem. For quarter 3, we would take quarter 4's requirements for production of 48,000, multiply that by 25%. And then finally, for quarter 4, notice it's given, because otherwise we would have to be given quarter 1's production for the next year. So we're told that the desired ending inventory for the 4th quarter is 8,000 grams. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to add the raw materials required for production plus the desired ending inventory in order to calculate the total needs for production. So we're not going to add the 5,000 and the 8. We're going to start from the 40,000, the 64,000. So I'm going to start from the 40,000. So in column B, it's going to be 40,000 plus 16,000. C, 64 plus 14. D, 56 plus 12. And E, 48 plus 8. Now, from the total needs for production, I subtract the beginning inventory. I did this in the 2 previous videos. I'm not going to bring the arrows down again, but remember the ending inventory for quarter 1 is going to be the beginning inventory for quarter 2. So whatever we end with quarter 1, we're going to begin with quarter 2. So I just bring the 16,000. I put it in as a negative number because I'm subtracting it. Same thing, ending inventory for quarter 2 is the same as the beginning for quarter 3. And ending inventory for quarter 3 is the same as the beginning inventory for quarter 4. So all we need is our beginning inventory as of the beginning of quarter 1. We're told in the problem 6,000 grams are on hand at the start of the 1st quarter. So we subtract the 6,000. That was given right in the problem. So again, for quarter 1, 56 minus 6 would be 50,000. Estimated grams of raw materials to be purchased, 78 minus 16, 68 minus 14, and 56 minus 12. Forgot to put that in as a negative number. That would have been a mistake. So if I take the total needs for production and subtract the beginning inventory, I get the estimated grams of raw materials to be purchased. So 50,000, 62, 54,000, and 44,000. Now, I'm given the price in the problem. I'm going to make sure that you can see the decimals. So we're given the price of the raw materials. We're told that it costs $1.20 per gram. So I'm going to put $1.20 all across the row. And now I just multiply the number of units to be purchased by the price to get the cost of the raw materials. So I take the materials in units to be purchased and multiply it by the price. So 50,000 times 1.2, 62,000 times 1.2, 54,000 times 1.2, and 44,000 times 1.2. So our estimated grams of raw materials to be purchased, 50,000, 62,000, 54,000, and 44,000. Now they need a total for the year. Very easy to calculate in Excel. just use the auto sum, 210,000. And the cost of the raw materials, 60,000, 74,400, 64,800, and 52,800. With the total for the year, just add those four numbers together, $252,000. All right, now let's move on to requirement 3. In requirement 3, we're supposed to calculate the expected cash disbursements for purchases of materials each quarter and for the year as a whole. So for that, we need the information on the purchases. So we're told here that management plans to pay for 60% of raw materials purchases in the quarter acquired and 40% in the following quarter. We're going to use that. In fact, I'm going to keep that fact highlighted, and we're going to use our cost of raw materials purchases. That 60,000 is going to be the beginning amount. So now let's calculate our payments for raw materials. And again, we're going to do this for quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at the accounts payable. So since everything's paid off in the following quarter, we're going to pay off our accounts payable for the beginning of the first quarter. We're going to pay that off in quarter 1. So accounts payable is going to be paid in quarter 1, 2,880. Now, for our raw materials purchased in quarter 1, we're told in the problem, it's not highlighted anymore, but we're told in the problem that 60% is going to be paid in the quarter acquired and 40% in the following quarter. So quarter 1 purchases, 60% of those will be paid in quarter 1. So 60,000 multiplied by 60% will be paid in quarter 1. And 40% of that amount will be paid in quarter 2. Now, let's take a look at our quarter 2 purchases. Quarter 2 purchases are going to be paid for in quarters 2 and quarters 3. So, paid for in quarter 2, 74,400 multiplied by 60%. And paid for in quarter 3, 74,400 multiplied by 40%. Now let's move on to our quarter 3 purchases. I'll scroll down because I'm going to need more lines over here. But as you can see, I need to keep those numbers in view because we need all of those numbers. Now for our quarter 3 purchases, they are going to be paid in quarter 3 and quarter 4. So I'm going to take my quarter 3 cost of raw materials purchases, 64,800. 60% of those are going to be paid for in quarter 3. And 40% of them are going to be paid for in quarter 4. And finally, the last one that we have to deal with are our quarter 4 purchases. I think I hit the wrong key there for a second. So 60% of our quarter 4 purchases are going to be paid in quarter 4. The remaining 40% quarter 1 of the next year, but the problem doesn't ask for that. So my quarter 4 purchases, cost of raw materials purchases, $52,800. 60% of those will be paid for in quarter 4. Now adding everything together. So every column should have 2 numbers, the amount from the previous month and the amount from the current month. So I'll make sure to add everything together. So I'll start from all the way at the beginning, line 19, add all the way down to line 30. And again, Excel will just ignore any blank cell, won't add anything. So for quarter 1, I have payments of $38,880. 68,640 quarter 2, 68,640 quarter 3, and 57,600 quarter 4. So let's put those numbers in, and let's see if we are correct. So cash disbursements for materials, 38,880 first quarter, 68,640 second quarter, 68,640 third quarter, fourth quarter, 57,600, and then total everything for the year. $233,760. Now that we've got this part right, let's work on requirement number 4. Calculate the estimated direct labor cost for each quarter and for the year as a whole. Direct labor cost is much easier than materials because materials are inventoried while direct labor is not inventoried. So while we have beginning and ending inventories of raw materials and of units produced, we do not have beginning and ending inventories of labor. So the labor one is going to be relatively simple. We're just going to take the units produced, which are given. We're told that each unit requires 0.2 direct labor hours. So we take the units produced and multiply by 0.2 to get the hours required for the production, and then multiply it by $15 per hour to get the total cost. So let's return to the question. Before I do that, let's go into requirement 4, and let's finish up this problem. So once again, for our direct labor budget, we start off with our units to be produced. That's given in the problem as 5,000, 8,000, 7,000, and 6,000. Again, very nice. We don't have to worry about our beginning inventory. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put in the direct labor requirements per unit. And it's 0.2 all the way across the board. Now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the 2 to get the direct labor hours required. So 5,000 units, each unit takes 0.2 of an hour, means that we're going to need 1,000 hours in quarter 1, 1,600 in quarter 2, 1,400 in quarter 3, 1,200 in quarter 4. Then we multiply it by the wage rate, given in the problem as $15 per hour, right there. So just multiply the hours required by the wage rate to get to the cost of labor. So 1,000 times 15 gives me 15,000. Copy that across the board. And we have 15,000, 24,000, 21,000, 18,000, and total them all up to finish up the problem. Total of those four numbers, 78,000. Check my work. And we are now done with problem number 3.